Today we're speaking about why Moshe Rabbeinu is MIA, missing in action in the Hagada. You would think that Moshe Rabbeinu, the star of the show, we're not going to do the Haftarah today because it's right before Pesach, so we're going to have this special shiur. You would mind giving out the papers?
We did.
Oh yeah? Can you give one to...
because he just walked in.
Okay. Okay, now, side number one. Usually it's Haftarah day, but we're going to do this because it's right before Pesach. I want to give you some chidushim that you can say over at the Seder. Okay, and I've made the Maramakomo sheet for you. Why is Moshe Rabbeinu missing in action? You would think, Moshe, that you're the hero. Look at side number one. What's pretty amazing, side number one, that the words Elohim Acherim, I don't want to shock you. See there, you have a paper, Larry? No? Can you give Larry a paper?
He doesn't want one.
Elohim Acherim has the same gematria as Moshe Rabbeinu. Isn't that shocking? No, Avi, pretty bizarre. Elohim Acherim, what does Elohim Acherim mean? Strange gods, foreign, Avodah Zarah is the same gematria as Moshe Rabbeinu, 345. That's pretty amazing. Says the Meshech Chochmah, that's why Moshe could not go to Eretz Yisrael. Because God is our hero. Judaism is a God-centered religion, not a cult of personality. So said the Meshech Chochmah. Yiddish. Judaism is a God-centered religion. Not the Rebbe said this, the Rebbe said that. People talk about this Rebbe, that, and they don't mention God. So the Meshech Chochmah says that it's amazing that Elohim HaCheirim, Gematria Moshe Rabbeinu, if Moshe Rabbeinu would come to Eretz Yisrael, there was a real danger that the Jewish people would deify him and worship him. It wouldn't be good for him or us, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu is not allowed to what? Come to Eretz Yisrael dead or alive, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu is missing in action in the Hagada.
His face was glowing.
Right? There was a danger. Now if you look at side number one, source number one, in the Haggadah of Pesach, v'yavarti be'eretz Mitzrayim u'b'lai lazeh, v'kesi chol b'Mitzrayim, ani v'loi malach. You see that? Source number one. God says, I and no angel, ani v'lo saraf. I and no fiery angel. And the last one, I think it's underlined, no? Ani v'lo hashliach. God says, me and not the shliach. Who's the shliach? I think it's Moshe Rabbeinu. So therefore he's out of the picture. He's out of the picture. But it's strange. The Jewish religion is based on Hakarat HaTov. The whole Jewish religion, Beryl, is based on Hakarat HaTov. Don't we owe a debt of gratitude to Holy Moses? So let's take a look. Moshe Rabbeinu is not mentioned in the Haggadah except in source number 3 as a quote from Parshas B'Shalach. Source number 3, Vayiminu B'Hashem and Moshe Avdo. You see that? But that's not the Haggadah, that's only quoting Exodus 17. But Moshe is conspicuously absent, which is very problematic because we know Hakarat HaTov, how do you say that in English? Expressing gratitude and appreciation, that is the pillar of Judaism. So this question didn't only bother me, it bothered the great Rabbi Soloveitchik. Look at source number 5. That's in English. Aren't you glad? Source number 5, sir, it's Kedai to look in. Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik, see that? Source number 5. The book in page 157, the book is called Festival of Freedom, you can buy it. But he says as follows, Moshe's name was eliminated from the pages of the Haggadah, source number 5, as if he never existed. But we are a grateful people. We feel very sorry for Moshe on Pesach night. Pesach night, you should feel sorry for Moses. I remember, says the great Rav Soloveitchik, when I was a small child, I would ask why Moshe is not mentioned in the Haggadah. And the answers my father gave me were futile. What? Simply, I cried. Rav Soloveitchik was such a sensitive child that he what? Cried because Holy Moses is what? Censored out of the Haggadah. Yes, I cried. Finally, my father, in order to calm me down, disturbing the Seder. Little Rav Soloveitchik is disturbing the Seder. So in order to calm down, Moshe, what happened? Oh, I found the name of Moshe in the Hagada. It is not in the Hagada proper, but turn over a proof text. See side number 2 on top? What's the proof text? A pasuk in Exodus 14. They believed in the Lord and in His servant Moses. So even though that's not the Haggadah is only what? Quoting that, Rav Soloveitchik said, this calmed my mind somewhat, but I still feel we're doing an injustice against Moshe Rabbeinu. You hear this? So this problem bothered the Vilna Gaon also. Now if you look at source number 6, a quote on Shir Hashirim. We read Shir Hashirim after the Seder. You don't go to sleep. You read Shir Hashirim, right? Right. Now, source number 6, Shir Hashirim, Al Mishkavi Balelot. I lay on my bed at night. Ze'elel Shal Mitzrayim. Source number 6 on side 2. Bikashti Shahava Nafshi. I sought the one, the love of my soul. Who's the love of my soul that I'm looking for? Sarah, in source number 6, who? Moshe. I look for him, but I can't find him. Shir Hashirim is a pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu's kidnapped. He's missing. So Shir Hashirim, we say, B'kashti shahava nafshi, I'm looking for the love of my life. Moshe Rabbeinu, but I can't find him. Source number 7, the Vilna Gaon. 7. Ech la'amita shal dava shamati Abba Mori ki amedish mishachel leila Pesach, the night of the Exodus, bekashti shahava nafshi, on source number 7. What does Shir Hashirim mean? Maybe that's one reason we read it right after the Haggadah barrel, because the most important star of the Haggadah is missing. So perhaps that's why, Ruti, we read Shir Hashirim. I'm giving you a new meaning. Why read Shir Hashirim after Haggadah? Because the Shir Hashirim says, I'm looking for the love of my life and I can't find him. Who's the love of my life? Moshe Rabbeinu, and I can't find him. We want to be maketov to Moshe Rabbeinu, the Av Nevi'im. Wow. And I can't find him, Sarah. So that's why we read Shir Hashirim, and the verse in Shir Hashirim says, I'm lying in my bed crying, I'm looking for the love of my life. And the Medrash says it's Holy Moses and I can't find him. Wow.
So we get right-hand man.
Who?
He was a right-hand man.
Right-hand man.
Right-hand.
Okay. So why is Moshe not there? In source number 7, in the whole Exodus story in the Haggadah, Moshe is not found because Hagula in source number 7 is underlined. Hagula shaychit kula lakudish baruch hu. You see that? We want to give all credit to whom? The big boss. We don't want God to share the limelight with anybody on Seder night, not even Holy Moses. That's problematic because the whole Jewish religion stands on what? Akarat Tato.
God's not jealous of his.
Even the greatest Navi who ever lived, we don't want him to crowd in on Seder night. Chanoch, Seder night, it's all for the boss. Right? Ani v'lo ashliach. So we push Moshe out of the picture. Source number 8 is the Vilna Gaon. Take a look. Source number 8. B'chol sipra yitzias Mitzrayim ein lo nuzkaron ador chatzon Moshe. In the whole sipra Mitzrayim is source number 8. We don't want to mention Moshe. Ki osa lonu l'shatev shim davar l'koved atzmo. We don't want to connect God with any other being. Vein shavach tolu Moshe rak b'Hashem levadoi. Moshe alone deserves no praise. It's all for the boss. Read this. Source number 8. V'cholam shatev shem shemayim v'dover echa nekim en olam. V'chein kos aminu b'Hashem u'b'Moshe avdo. The Jews sang at the Red Sea, v'aminu b'Hashem, they believed in God, u'b'Moshe avdo. Koloma lo liglos Moshe ne'emazeh. This is not praising Moshe. Adarabba. In source number 8, Sheminu Hashem also calls us. They believe that God did it all. Now you can't trust the movie, Sarah. Because I remember the movie, you have Moses waving the stick over the Red Sea.
Right.
The book is better. Because if you look at the text,
50th anniversary of the movie.
if you look at the text, you listening to me? You see that it says Moshe waved his hand, not the stick. And Rabbeinu Bachai makes an observation there on that pasuk, because the Jews said he had a magic wand. So God says, put down the stick. Look, Ma, no hands. He rolled up his sleeves, and the pasuk says, Larry, say the night talk. You can't say the same things every year. He waved his hand over the Red Sea, not the stick. Because the Jews were saying it's a magic wand. So the same idea over here, the Jews saw that what? It's all God. And Moshe is only the Eved. V'chein oz yorshe Moshe b'nei Yisrael. Kulam yachad. So the Jews and Moses equally sang the song at the sea. Sheshavin kulam banes. All of them equally participated in the miracle of Moses and the lowest Jew. Yiddish?
Oz Yeshir is not in the Hagada.
Oz yorshe Moshe b'nei Yisrael kulam, yeah. But that's the point. The Vilna Gaon is saying, Oz yorshe Moshe b'nei Yisrael. That at the song of the sea, the Jewish people and Moses sang as equal. Even the lowest Jew and Moses were in the same boat at the splitting of the Red Sea. So now we understand why Moshe is not in the Haggadah. For the same reason he's not buried in Eretz Yisrael, says the Meshech Chochmah. Judaism is a God-centered religion, not a cult of personality.
So that's why he's not buried in...
That's one reason. There was a danger, Mr. Robinson, said Meshech Chochmah, that they would deify him, dead or alive. And that's what Meshech Chochmah says, that's why he could not make it to Eretz Yisrael.
Who wants the Haggadah?
The Haggadah is a collection, taking from most of the Tractate Psachim, right?
Who put it together?
Who made it together? We know exactly. There's a bunch of different authors, but it's extract from Tractate Psachim, quotes from the Chumash and the Tanakh. There's a bunch of authors that extracted it and put it all together. Now, if you look at source number 9, Sarah, you'll see something incredible. Number 9. This is the Rambam, Halacha Bet. I think there's an underline there, Halacha Bet. You see that, Moshe? Mitzel haidi ala banim. There's a mitzvah to tell your children, afilu lo shalu, even though they don't ask. You tell them a Seder night, shenem egadat bincha. You should tell your child. Halacha Bet, it's underlined, source 9. Lefi dato shel haben of melamdoi. According to the wisdom of the child, the father explains. Ketzad, im hoya koton tipesh. If the child was small and not so bright, the father would tell him, you remember the family, the movie Roots, Kunta Kinte, Alex Haley. You explain to him what an Eved is, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Ubalayla hazeh, this night, P'dei Son HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and this night God freed us from Uncle Tom's chains. So far, you don't mention Moshe's name, right? You just HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But listen to this, Sarah. It's underlined in yellow. Moshe, look at the number 9, Halacha Bet. It's underlined in yellow. What does it say there, Larry? Vim hoya ben gadol v'chacham. If the child is what? Smart and grown up and smart. Moedia, we let him know. Mashira lonu b'mitzrayim in Isim. We let him know all the great miracles in Egypt. Shana Shalanu, what's the next word?
Moshe.
Ayidei Moshe Rabbeinu. Say what? Golda, what's going on?
He knows the difference.
Beautiful, Sarah. Hakol lefi data shel ben. Only if he's a chacham, then do we play up Moses' role. But if he's not a chacham, we keep Moses out of the picture, Nechama, because if he's not a chacham, he might confuse the master with the servant. So we don't take no chances. But if the son is a chacham and wise, then he'll know that Moshe is only the servant.
What grandmother doesn't think that the grandson...
Right. So then, it's a big chiddush here. The Rambam is saying if you have smart people around the Seder, Sarah, it's a big chiddush. If you have smart people around the Seder, you should mention what? Moshe Rabbeinu's name. Then there's no danger that you'll what? Chas v'sholem, you'll mix up the servant with the master, or blur the lines. But if you're not sure, then don't say it. Amazing Rambam here in Halacha Bet. Many people just skip that over. But the Rambam is clearly, if there are wise people, mature people around the Seder table, you should mention Moshe Rabbeinu's role, because the whole Jewish religion stands on what? Hakarat HaTov, expressing gratitude. But there was a danger for the simple folk that they'll mix it up and they might attribute supernatural powers to Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore the Hagada kept him out, and that's perhaps the reason why Shalom Shir Hashirim we say after Seder night, when we don't mention Moshe at all, there's a pasuk in Shir Hashirim, I'm crying for the love of my life, who he's missing, and the Medrash says, who's the love of my life in Shir Hashirim? Moshe Rabbeinu. So perhaps that's a reason why right after the Haggadah you read Shir Hashirim. It's just amazing that Shamshon Frolhurst takes this idea further. If you look in the book of Exodus, right before Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron do these supernatural tricks, miracles, the Torah gives the genealogy of Moshe and Aaron. Like from left field, Yehuda. The Torah gives the Exodus story, time out, before he does his supernatural wonders, the Torah gives his genealogy. Who his Baba is, who his Doda was, doesn't seem to belong. Says Hirsch, the same idea. Moshe is about to do these fantastic supernatural miracles. Unlike other religions, our heroes are human. They have a Baba, and a Zayda, and a Tanta, and a Bubba. So therefore, before Moshe Rabbeinu does his miracles, Avi, the Torah takes time out in the middle of left field. Moshe, take a look in the book of Exodus 3, and it gives the ganze Yichus. Moshe's Baba, Moshe's Zayda, his cousin, second cousin, doesn't seem to belong, but this is again to remove the juke in people's heads. J.C. Penney, he walked on water, right? Our religion, all of our heroes are what? Human. With human failings. And a mother-in-law, and a father-in-law. Huh? Which reminds me, what's the difference between in-laws and outlaws?
In-laws are wanted.
At least outlaws are wanted. Did I mess it up?
No, we've heard it 40 times.
Oh, you messed it up. All right.
No, so what, I didn't hear the end of it.
At
least-
outlaws.
The difference in in-laws and outlaws. At least outlaws are wanted. Wanted, dead or alive, get it? Okay. Now, so, again, if you have wise people around the Seder, Moshe Rabbeinu's name should be mentioned to give him what? Hakarat HaTov. Now, give you highlights of the Seder. Hope you brought a notebook. Isn't it strange? Moshe Rabbeinu pleads for Sodom. He pleads and bargains with God for those lowlifes. Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm testing you, you see?
I hope I can.
Why Abraham pleads for Sodom? But when God says your children will be enslaved 400 years, he doesn't say boo. Isn't that bizarre? For the low-life Sodomites, he says, how dare you, God? Shall the judge of all the earth not do justice? But when he says your kids will be enslaved for 400 years, he doesn't say anything. You don't think it's strange, Nechama? I think it's very strange. Maybe not. Maybe not. Because the tafkid of a Jew in Pashas Bahar, Kili b'nei Yisrael avadim. God says in Pashas Bahar, the Jewish people are my slaves. Avodahem. They are my slaves. Asher tzesi oisam mitzrayim. The reason I brought them down to Egypt was not a punishment. It's basic training. If you want to be an Evet Hashem, you got to go to Evet school. Ruti. I think it's called the School of Hard Knocks. What's the Harvard University of Evet school? Egypt. So they took a 210-year crash course on how to be an Evet. And then they could graduate. Kili b'nei Yisrael avodim, and the Torah repeats avodahem. The end of Pashas Bahar says clearly, the reason that I took them out of Egypt, that I brought them there and took them out, is to basic training. So Avram had nothing to complain. You can't graduate to be an Eved Hashem overnight. You got to go to Eved school. They took a 210 PhDs they got. 210 U's in Cairo University. In what?
Pharaoh's hard demands.
PhD, Pharaoh's hard demands. So Abraham had nothing to complain about, Sarah. That's the answer. That's the answer. Wasn't a punishment. The highest calling a Jew, a human being, can achieve is what?
Service of God.
Vayom Hashem Moshe Evet Hashem.
Right.
Evet Hashem. Lo Kain Moshe Avdi. Not Moshe, chief rabbi, greatest prophet. What does God keep calling him? Evet Hashem. Eliezer, Evet. Evet Abraham, you became Evet Hashem. But the highest calling a person can achieve is to be an Evet Hashem. Yismach Moshe Matas Chelko. We say every Shabbos morning. Moshe rejoices in his davening Shabbos morning. Yismach Moshe Matas Chelko. What does Moshe rejoice? What's his chelik? Ki Evet Nemon. Because God called him Beryl. Evet Nemon. Lo Kain Moshe Avdi. B'chol Beisi Nemo. So Moshe is rejoiced. Not that he's the chief rabbi, greatest Navi that ever lived, but he's what? Evet Hashem. So Moshe, we had to go to Evet school. So Abraham had nothing to what? To complain about. Now, Pesach is the original spiritual time machine. You ever wonder why on Pesach night you don't say Al Hanisim? Isn't it strange? You say Al Hanisim on Hanukkah, on Purim. I think that the miracles that took place on Pesach were greater than Hanukkah and Purim. How come that doesn't get Al Hanisim? Al Hanisim, V'Al Purkan. You're remembering the miracles that we don't say it on Pesach.
Say Hallel.
But you should say Al Hanisim. Say Hallel on Hanukkah too. You don't say Hallel on Hanukkah, and you say Al Hanisim on Hanukkah. What am I, chopped liver? Hanukkah you say Hallel, and you also say Al Hanisim, thanking God for the miracles. The miracles of the Exodus are much greater than Hanukkah. How come that doesn't deserve an Al Hanisim?
Prayers are long enough. Don't give them any ideas.
I think that's a Manishtana. You can't ask the same questions every year. Manish. So what? Why don't you say Al Hanisim? So why don't you say Al Hanisim, praising God for the miracles, like Hanukkah? What's the answer?
Because God Himself was the.
So what?
Wasn't nature. It was God Himself. He went in.
When something is
So what?
God.
The answer is Hanukkah and Purim. We remember the miracles that took place. So we say Al Hanisim. Pesach is not a zecher of Geula, but it's actually a time of Geula. Right? Unlike Pesach, unlike Hanukkah and Purim, we're remembering miracles that took place then. Pesach is different. Those forces of redemption that were present then are present again. So we are, therefore on Pesach you're supposed to eat the foods that they ate. We are reliving that experience. Avi, we're going back in time. It's a spiritual time machine. Pesach is all about show and tell. And therefore, you don't say Al Hanisim, because we quote a Mishnah Psachim, B'chol dor v'dor, chayev adam lirat atzmo. In every generation, a person has to see himself as if he actually left Egypt. How is it possible? We left Egypt 3,329 years ago. How is it possible? Because the Chagim in the Torah are called Moed. Rachmil, what does Moed mean? Ruti knows. The word Moed means rendezvous. Ruti. Sarfat or English. Moadim means rendezvous with God. You hear this? We cycle through time. Time in Yahadut goes what? In cyclicals. I think it was moving in a circle. And therefore we have a round matzah, the symbol of the Ein Sof. God has no beginning and no end. The symbol that time is cyclical. Those forces of Kedusha and redemption that were present 33 or 129 years ago are going to come again on Monday night. So you don't say Al HaNisim because you're not remembering past miracles like Chanukah. You're living them. You're living them, reliving them again. Wow.
I eat the same food. I think I found some peanut butter.
Right.
That's 3,000 years old.
Right?
I think I'll eat that, the peanut butter.
Chanukah say Bayom Mahaim. The Al HaNisim on Chanukah we say Bayom Mahaim. What does that mean, Bayom Mahaim? Those days, but Pesach is not Bayom Mahaim. That's the whole point. We're still participants. And therefore there's no need to say, we're not remembering past miracles. We're reliving it again. How do I know that? It's a pasuk in Koheles chapter 3. Ma shehaya kvar hu. Koheles says about Pesach, Moshe, ma shehaya kvar hu. What does that mean? What is now already happened long time ago. We're just cycling. Moshe was cycling through time. The round matzah. The Ein Sof. Time is cyclical. Moed. We rendezvous with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Wow. No need to say Al HaNisim. We're still active participants. Now, Yirmiyahu tells us, Hashem, chesed norayich. I remember the loving kindness of your youth when you were my young bride. Lech techach b'midbar. Right? Follow me in the desert. Strange puzzle. God tells Jeremiah, we did a chesed for him. Chanoch, how could little old me, a little dirtbag, how could I do chesed for the big boss? But that's what God says. On Exodus day, we left the next day at high noon, right? God says, Zacharti lo chesed norayich. Jeremiah, God says, Kol yomer Hashem, thus says God, I remember that you Jewish people did a chesed when you were my young kala. Now how could I do a chesed for God? So the Zohar Kodesh says, Shemis chesed im kono. On Pesach, we did a loving kindness with our Maker. But how could that be? Fasten your seatbelts. You can't read the Hagada and go to sleep. You gotta... The first message that God gives to Paroi, B'ni b'chori Yisrael. My child, my firstborn is Israel. The first message. Family can have many children. There can only be one firstborn. So God says right off the bat, Israel's not just my child, he's my Bechor. And every Bechor is special. Because the Bechor changes the status from a young couple to parents. Even 9 kids later, or 19 kids later, they're still parents. But what changes status? From the firstborn. So therefore the firstborn is special and unique. And he gets a double Pi Shnayim. We'll talk about that.
But the firstborn daughter.
One second. B'ni b'chori Yisrael. Right. My firstborn child is Israel. 1 second. So the Zohar says something incredible. Why does the Torah call the month of Nisan Aviv? It's not called Nisan anywhere. That's later on. But in the Torah it's called Aviv. Aviv, says the Zohar, Aviv is an acronym. FBI, CIA. Av Yud Bet. The father of the 12. You hear this? Says the Zohar is something incredible. Until the Exodus, God had a title Boreh. How do you say that in English? Creator. But on the Exodus night, we gave God a new title. He became what? The proud Papa, the Papa. B'ni b'chor Yisrael, Mazel Tov. So the month is called Aviv, is an acronym Av Yud Bet. On Pesach night, we made God the father of the 12 tribes. So therefore God says, you did a chesed for me. You made me a proud papa. Shalom, this is Pesach night talk. You just can't say the same things every year. On Pesach night, we made God a proud papa, the papa. You didn't know that, right? Good thing you came today. So the Bechor is special. He does a chesed for the couple. Before that, they're just a young couple. Now they're what? Parents. Now they're parents. So therefore, the firstborn gets a double portion. Because he changed the status of the Zug Tzayir. How do you say that in English? Zug Tzayir. A young couple, and now they're parents. He gets a double portion. Hakoras HaToiv. So therefore, God gave us a double portion. He gave us Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. And He gave us 2 Torahs. Because we made God a papa. Isn't that incredible? So we get 2 worlds, this world and the next world. And we also get what? 2 Torahs. 2 Torahs, right?
What do you mean 2 Torahs? Oral and written.
Torah Shebiktav, Torah Shebal Peh. The written and the oral. Why 2? Because a Bechor gets what? A double portion. And therefore we get the physical world and the spiritual world.
The Jews asked how much they cost, and the Jews said, the free, I'll take them.
Mm-hmm. Now Moshe asked a bomb kasha from bomb land. What about girls? Why does a firstborn girl not get a double portion? That's a kasha from bomb land. Beryl, you hear Moshe's kasha? That's even more strange, because we know when God offered the Torah, first He offered it to what? To the women. The Bet Yaakov. Kol Toma le Bet Yaakov. God is a gentleman, Beinish. He offered the Torah first to the Jewish women. So isn't it strange that a firstborn girl does not get a double portion? Very strange. God is a gentleman. He gave the Torah first to the ladies. So how come He doesn't give girls a double portion? Moshe, help me. I'm not ashamed to say I do not know Golda. I'll tell you why I'm not ashamed to say. The greatest of the Rishonim, Rashi. Rashi stands for Rabban Shel Yisrael. The greatest of the Rishonim says 72 times in his Perush and Gemara and Chumash, Ani lo yedeya. Ein yedeya ma perusho. The greatest Rishon of all says more than any other Rishon, Ani lo yedeya. Ein yedeya ma perusho. So I'm in good company. I don't know any yedeya ma perusho. I don't know the explanation.
But you know what?
72 times, you can count it, Masha, in the Chumash, in the Gemara, more than any other super commentator. The greatest of all the commentators says, I do not know. I'm stumped. I'm not ashamed to say, I don't know the answer to Masha's great question. Why does a female firstborn not get a double portion?
Is that one of the I do not know from Rashi?
What? Now, Rashi doesn't deal with that, but he deals with other subjects. Ani lo yedeya, ein yedeya ma perusho. So that's what I have to say to you, Masha. I have to do some why girls don't get a double portion.
Don't get any inheritance, not double or single. Girls don't inherit at all.
No, the oral Torah, see, we're not Karaites. The oral Torah, Tractate Bava Basra, says as follows. We're not Karaites. Now, glad you brought that up. Now, even though according to the written Torah, it doesn't say that girls get anything, but if you learn Tractate Bava Basra, the oral Torah says that the sons have no right to get anything of the Yerusha until Bezdin makes sure that the girls get their portion. You know, Masha? We're not Karaites. So listen to me. So in the written Torah, a lot of things don't say in the written Torah. In the written Torah it says, don't leave your place on Shabbat. So the Karaites don't go to the toilet on Shabbat. It says, no one can leave their place on Shabbat. How do you go to the toilet? They don't. Not joking. But we know that means Chum Shabbos. You can't walk outside the city 2,000 amas. So the oral Torah Tractate Bava Basra says that sons and daughters, the oral Torah says that the sons are not able to get their portion of the inheritance until Bezdin make sure that the sisters are taken care of first. Yes, good thing you came today, Masha.
No,
Tractate Bava Basra, Cheskas Habatim, it's a whole sugi over there. But that doesn't answer the question why a firstborn girl does not get a double portion. That you stumped me, okay? But again, I'm in good company with Rashi, yes?
Rabbi,
Yes,
if the firstborn is a girl,
right,
she's really a leader for all the other children.
right,
If we, in our case, we always say,
right,
if we were given a vote,
Right.
we would all agree that my sister, my older sister, should, if there was a lot,
Right.
she would get a double portion.
okay? But the question is why the Torah does not offer. I don't know the answer to that question. But anyway, let's get to the things that I do know. Yes? Yes?
The Chol doesn't get a double portion if he wasn't born by the normal way.
Right.
Born by the pure king.
Right, we don't want to get into technicalities, but still, it's strange that a girl, no matter how she's born, the firstborn doesn't get, right.
The 5 sisters.
Oh, so what? The Benoy Slavchad. So there you have a case. If there are no sons, then the daughters get it all.
Yeah, we know.
Right? If there are no sons, the daughters get it. Benoy Slavchad had no brothers. Right? So therefore, they got all of it. But if there were brothers, again, the oral Torah would say that the brothers cannot get theirs until the sisters are taken. You won't find that in the written Torah. The written Torah is written as a shorthand code. We forget that. Without the oral Torah, we don't know what it says. A lot of strange psukim in the written, the eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. Eyeless and toothless. Right? Doesn't mean that. But still, Masha's question stands the way it is. But let's get to what I do know. Pesach night. We do something very strange. In the middle of Hallel, time out, manja manja. Isn't that bizarre? You say a few parokim in Hallel, and then you take a time out and you
Have your meal.
and then you get back to saying Hallel. Is that proper decorum? To say, in the middle of interrupting, finish the Hallel already. No, Dafka, you interrupt the Hallel, praising the Lord. God, I put you on hold. I got a manja. After you greps, you go back and you finish the Hallel. Larry, is that very, you don't think that's strange? You don't think it's strange? You don't think that's, when do we eat? You know the story. They tried to kill us. We won. When do we eat?
Tell the story about the non-Jew that went to the Pesach.
Yeah, but I don't. You know, the non-Jew got invited. You know the story. You know? No?
You should hear this story.
What?
What's that?
Should I tell you the story?
Yes.
This non-Jew was friends with this Jewish person, and they were sitting in a bar together, Erev Pesach, you know, drinking, and he says, listen, tonight is a great feast. We have a great feast. Make believe, put on a yarmulke, make believe you're Jewish, all right, and come with me to the shul, and somebody will invite you. You're going to have a feast. You'll eat like you never ate before. You hear? He says, why not? Listen, have a good meal, right? So he puts on a kippah, makes believe he's Jewish. He comes to the shul with the guy. Sure enough, someone invites him, right?
Yeah.
So he sits down. He says, a great meal is coming. He sits down. First, they start reading the Hagada. And then they give him a little piece of potato with salt water. You know, like a little tension. Then he gets even more hungry. And he's hungry. He's jumping out of it. He's hungry. And they're reading, and they say, where's the great feast? And finally they give him matzah and horseradish. And his ears are smoking. So he runs out in the middle. So he runs back to his friend the next morning. He says, you double-crossed me. So they gave me a little saltwater potatoes, and then they wanted to burn my throat with my nose with this. He says, you idiot, if you just would have waited another hour, you would have eaten like a king. Patience.
Hear that story, Sarah?
A goyish cup. How do you say that in English?
Sarah?
Moshe, a goyish
Oh, I
cup.
heard it.
But anyway, where was I? But why do we eat in the middle of Hallel? Why don't you first finish the Hallel and then what?
And then
So the answer to this question, another question. When was the first time in human history that God commanded a human being to eat a karban? Adam, Cain, Hevel, Noach, Avraham, Yaakov, they all brought karbanot. Would they dare eat the karban? Sacrilege. A karban is all burned up for Hashem. The first time in human history that God commanded a human being to eat the karban, which was a revolutionary idea, was Pesach night. Abraham would dare eat a karban? Moses, Noach? But on Pesach night, God created a people that is a living, breathing mizbeach, and I'll prove it to you. Normally with a karban, the animal is burned up on the altar, and the blood is smeared on the walls of the altar. Why did God command us on Pesach night to smear the blood on the walls? Now, you can't trust the movie. The movie, Kathy, has that they smeared the blood on the outside of the house. You can't trust the movie. The book is better. The Torah says the blood should be smeared inside of the house, on the walls and on the doorpost. Now, why? We're leaving the next morning anyway, so who cares? Remember with Tevye? The movie Fiddler on the Roof, right? They're getting expelled, and she's sweeping up the house. So Tevye says to her, Golda, what are you doing? We're leaving. She says, I can't leave a dirty house. So we're leaving the next day anyway, so that's why we smear up the walls with blood. Very strange. And inside of the house, not on the outside, says the Maharal. A karban, normally the meat is all burned on the altar and the blood is smeared on the walls of what? Of the altar. On Pesach night, God created a people. The people, the Jewish people are going to be, and their home will be what? A living altar. So instead of burning up the animal, we eat it. Instead of smearing the blood on the altar, where do we smear the blood? On the walls of our house, turning ourselves and our homes into, Moshe, an altar of Hashem. That idea was created when? On Pesach night. So therefore the Maharal says when we eat in the middle of Hallel, it's not an interruption. When a Jew eats on Pesach night, that's part of the Hallel. We can take a mundane act like eating and what? Raise it up to the status of what? Of a karban. Two people eat. One is eating and one is actually bringing a karban. The awesome power of a Jew to turn himself and his home into a living, breathing altar. So when we eat on Pesach night, says the Maharal, we're demonstrating, we're not interrupting the Hallel. When a Jew eats on Pesach night, that becomes part of the Hallel. A mundane act like what? Like eating can be elevated to the status of what, Rabbi Abraham? A karban. That's just incredible. And that concept was created when? Pesach night. So we dafke manja in the middle of Hallel. It's no interruption. It's part of the Hallel. That's the tafkid of a Jew, to take the most mundane act and to sanctify it. Therefore, the act of getting married, the act of sexual intimacy is called kiddushin. Isn't that strange? The act of sexual intimacy is called kiddushin. That's not strange? You're taking the sexual desire and you are making it holy. That's the tafkid of a Jew. And therefore, my Rabbi said, under the chuppah, how come the chassan talks to the kala and the kala doesn't say anything? Women's lib. Says my Rebbe Rapam, Hareyat mikudeshet li. What is the chassan saying to the kala? Hareyat mikudeshet li. Because of you, sweetheart, I am sanctifying my sexual desire. You hear what he's saying? Hareyat mikudeshet li. Because of you, my sexual desire will become kodesh. Moving on up. That concept was born or created on the night of Pesach. That whatever a Jew does in life can become Kodesh, the most mundane act. Where else? On Friday afternoon, you're cleaning your toilets and making sponja. You're doing a mitzvah routine. Do you know that? You didn't know that. I'm not hallucinating. You're cleaning your toilets and making sponja. On Friday afternoon, it's a mitzvah. What's the mitzvah? Kavod Shabbos. So before you go into the toilet to clean it, you should say, I'm not joking. Shall Kavod Shabbos. A Jew can clean the toilets, and before you go into the bathroom. And you go shopping on Friday or Thursday night, you're going shopping, you should say, every time you're buying anything, Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. The Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. And when you're cooking, Kavod Shabbos. And when you're eating, Onek Shabbos. Everything we do can be elevated to a mitzvah. It's just mind-boggling. Moshe, we have no downtime. Even when you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, to wake up to be rejuvenated, to do more mitzvot. Because if I don't have a good night's sleep, and I won't be able to study the next day, won't be able to do proper chesed, then the sleeping itself becomes what? Isn't that incredible? A Jew has no downtime. How do you say that in French? Downtime. That concept, that idea was created, Rachmiel, when? Pesach night. So dafk in the middle of Hallel, manja. You're dressed in white. You're a virtual, remember Queen for a day? Kohen for a night. Every person becomes a Kohen for a night. Dressed in the white kittel. The eating becomes an act of korban. Every bite you take. You're wearing a white kittel. It's very interesting, Sarah. A person brought a sin offering. So the fat, the blood, and the kishkis went on the mizbeach, and the roast beef or the shoulder of lamb was eaten by the Kohen. So the Gemara says something incredible. So I would think a person brought a sin offering, guilt offering, when would he get kapara? When the fat, the blood, and the kishkis are on the altar, right? No. Kohanim ochlim ubalim ischaprim. You bring a guilt offering, a sin offering. You're a sinner. So the Mizbeach gets only the fat, the blood, and the kishkis. But until the Kohen doesn't eat the steak or the lamb chop, the sinner does not get kapara. Larry, isn't that strange? The altar got its share. The altar represents God. No. Until the Kohen doesn't eat his what? Sirloin? Or what? What's it called? Entrecot? Or the lamb chop? The sinner does not get kapara. Kohanim ochlim ubalim ischaprim. So every one of us becomes a virtual Kohen on Pesach night. You got to take advantage of it. Every person.
In Tel Aviv, they have a different interpretation of what Queen for a night means.
Queen for a night. Kohen for a night. Right? Now it's amazing. Everything about the Seder revolves around four. You say women don't get enough credit. There are 4 cups, 4 children, 4 questions, 4 terms of endearment. There are 4 Torah mitzvahs on Pesach night. Pesach, Matzah, Mora, Hagada. There's a mitzvah, Pesach, Matzah, Mora, and to read the Haggadah. The name of the Chag has 4 names. Pesach, Chag HaMatzot, Chag HaCherut, Chag HaAviv. Why does everything revolve around 4 on Pesach night? Beautiful. Says the Zohar. The mamas. The mamas. The 4 represent the 4 mothers of Israel. The righteous women of Israel. Without them, there would be no what? Exodus. Behind every good man is his better mother.
You know, Asian style.
And his mother-in-law.
Asian style is
What?
You say mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law, mother-in-law. I had to get that in, right? Now, where was I? Where was I? 4. The 4 mothers represent the righteous women of Israel. Please hear me well. Women don't put on tefillin. Check your tefillin tomorrow morning. The shin has 4 heads. That's very strange, Bainish. The last time I saw a shin has what? 3. Why is your shin 4-headed shin? Check your tefillin tomorrow morning, Rachmiel. There's 4 heads on the shin. The shin on the tefillin, says the Zohar HaKadosh. The 4-headed shin represents the 4 mothers of Israel. We have to wear tefillin. That's a prop to remind us that we are what? Bonded with Him. You ladies don't need props. The 4-headed shin represents the 4 mothers of Israel, the Jewish women of Israel. They're so close to God. They don't need the props of the tefillin. We need the friendly reminders. But ladies are so close to God that they know they're bonded to Him. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I still owe Masha an answer of why a firstborn girl does not get a double portion. Wir sucht von a Kasche starben nicht, vor weiter. How do you say that in English? You don't die from a kasha. So that's a cliffhanger. Maybe by Sunday I'll find the answer. This way you have to come back on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah. Sunday we have a class Shabbos at 5 o'clock. This Shabbos over here we have a class at 5 o'clock, a special shiur on why Pesach is the only Chag called HaShabbat. Manishtana, it's another Manishtana. Manishtana Pesach, it's the only Chag that's called HaShabbat. Yes. That's Shabbos at 5, and Sunday at 2, the Exodus, right, but why Pesach is the only, Manishtana Pesach, Mikol HaChagim, it's the only Chag that's called HaShabbat. That's Shabbos at 5 o'clock, and Sunday at 2, we'll be speaking about the Exodus, how you can take it with you. Jack Benny says, if I can't take it with me, I'm not going. But I'll show you a way that you can take it with you. That's Sunday at 5 o'clock. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much.